Books? Books. But add pictures and I'm like, ooh, boobies. Ooh, economics. Over the years, I've been through a lot of manga. I've seen brilliant stories get demolished by bad writing, and I've seen okay stories sprout wings and take off. But one thing none of us have seen is an isekai end. I imagine all isekai authors are sitting in a fort somewhere with a bunch of crayons.
And animal crackers!
Yes, Satoshi. There will be animal crackers. They're all drawing the same story about being reincarnated in medieval Europe as a couch or a slime, but none of them know how to end it. And one day, one of them will. And the rest are just gonna reach out their hands and go, I want that, I want that! And they'll just copy that guy. Kind of like how every time I drop one of these videos, mysteriously, shadow clones of my titles, thumbnails, and recommendations start popping up. Scam, didn't you copy your thumbnail from Eye Patch Wolf when you were starting out? Fuck you. Gentlemen, at least we're not like this guy.
In this world, gods of every kind exist in the same universe.
In this world, gods of every kind exist within the same universe.
Jargon!
Jargon! Our main character Denji is the complete opposite of every shonen main character you've seen.
He copied my whole flow!
Suffice to say, I've read a lot. I'm picking stories that make me drop what I'm doing and run a mile. Shit that gets my heart pumping. Books that are meaningful to me. So I want you to skip around, experiment with every single book on this list, and find what's for you. And if you can grab even a speck of the enjoyment I've gotten from these over the years, I'll be a happy guy. My name is Scamboli. I like manga, and here's what I've collected for you. A lot of you are going to skip this one just because of how it looks, which is a damn shame because a boisterous roller coaster of emotion, that's what you're missing out on. Helck takes place in a world with demonkin and the like, and your main character is this hulking monster named Helck. Your supporting characters are Anne and this little bird guy named Pee-wee. You're gonna love Pee-wee. Helck can best be summed up as an adventure. Anne is initially unsure about Helck because he's human. Pee-wee trusts everything and everybody because he's fucking Pee-wee. But as they're forced to become partners on a journey to save the world, a real, strong friendship forms that could weather any goddamn storm the author could throw at it. It's an adventure that you go on with them. You meet Helck and have just as much reason to suspect something's off about him. But one selfless act after another, your suspicions dissolve, leaving nothing but admiration and genuine friendship that can be felt through the artwork. It can be sad at times. You carry a strong attachment to Helck as the story develops, which becomes a double-edged sword when you find out how he became the man he is today. The book delicately handles trauma and regret. The feeling is perfectly translated from the author's hands to your heart, like when we find out why Helck became a murderer. And that only strengthens my respect for him as a character. To experience hardship and not fold brings inspiration to me and a smile on my face, fictional or not. Do not miss out on Helck. This is the stuff I read manga for, and if you're not sold now, I will be doing a video on Helck very soon. Stellar art direction. Weird motherfuckers. Zombies. That's all you need, right? I got a feeling that a lot of you are going to miss out on this one because you know what? It is sort of weird. Like, you open up the first chapter and immediately this guy starts gigging. He pisses on this little man's head because he's schizophrenic or something. Hideo, this poor, mentally ill man, is also somehow allowed to have a gun. And it doesn't take place in America. I don't know how that works. The real issues arise when the line between his delusions and reality begin to cross. Where do his hallucinations start and where do they end? Probably around here. One of the many strengths of this manga is that you look at it and think, okay, this sad thing is happening, but at least I know what's going on. No, you don't know what's going on. You have the most unreliable goober of a narrator during a zombie apocalypse. He encounters disgusting groups of people, he does terrible things to survive, and of course there's that classic mall scene that's in every zombie story. Yes, he is a goober. But why do you think this book is called I Am a Hero? He has no choice but to evolve as a person. And I thank the author for allowing me to experience his story in some of the best paneling I've ever seen. There isn't a single detail that hasn't been ironed out. This manga plays and looks like a movie. It's written like a movie. Fragments of foreshadowing are peppered in by the author all the way from chapter 1 to 100. And by the time you finally realize it, you've already begun dancing to the author's tune. In an infinite lineup of zombie manga, I Am a Hero stands on its very tippy toes as the one that stands out. I almost passed on it because the art style is too morbid, and here I am 3 years later telling you to try it out. Read it. Claymore is better than almost any of the shit any other YouTuber is gonna suggest to you. What? I'm serious. It takes place in the Middle Ages where above all else, humans fear the Yoma. Shape-shifting monsters that hide among terrifying creatures that can take on the guise of your loved ones and tear your family to shreds. Humanity's only answer are silver-haired women called Claymores. These are women that were implanted with the flesh of a Yoma so they can retain the strength of these creatures while maintaining their humanity, if they're careful. Claymore is a lot like sex with me. No, there are no small wieners in Claymore, nor is it stinky, but it's fast. The plot drops you on top of a treadmill, dangles the next chapter in front of you, and says, alright, go. Every chapter we find something out. The dark organization that controls the Claymores might be plotting something. Claire, our main character, might be fucking nuts, and she's really good at pretending not to be. The politics get crazy, there's a plot twist every couple of chapters. I'm awestruck by the amount of content the author was able to pack into the story. And it's set up so that he can tell you some new shit every chapter because there's so much to tell. I was supposed to only reread up to like chapter 25 and ended up parking my ass in my chair until chapter 60. But when I mentioned speed, I didn't just mean the plot. I control the pace I read at, but it feels as if blinking would make me miss half the action. Every exchange is cold, unfeeling efficiency. When they fight, there are no flashbacks, there's no narrator, just extremely nimble killers zooming across the page at the speed of light. This is only possible beside the god-tier art. Vile monsters boldly loom across my desk. Sunrays beam on my face at 10 p.m. The artist is able to take you places and make you see shit that you probably don't want to see. After seeing all this, you might be thinking,
pardon me, but what of the jugs? I don't believe I see any sexualized little girls here either. What buffoonery is this?
there is no fan service. There are no gymungous jugs. The women aren't super submissive sex dolls. They actually have character and writing behind them, and that makes them scary. These are characters that you can admire, characters that you sit back and think to yourself, that was badass, not some lazy imitation. Claymore is an unpredictable classic that I would suggest to anyone who's left of the void from Berserk. There's something indescribable about a story like this. You're not just getting a piece of fiction, you're finding a new world. But maybe you don't want to find another world. Maybe you want to pretend to be from another part of this one. Yeah, this is sponsored by NordVPN. Listen, man, we don't choose our internet service providers. Well, I don't. I don't pay for my own internet. But we do get to choose how we use it, if you're armed with the right tools. Sometimes sites just block your fucking IP for no reason. That literally happened to me the other night. And I'm very sure the nice people at Nord would appreciate it if I didn't disclose what site that was, but rest assured, I was quite impatient, to say the least. So I popped up Nord, switched my IP, and bam, I was in. It's a process that takes no time at all. Being banned from sites isn't even annoying anymore. But please let me back into Cartoon Network again. I will not say what I said to those kids again. It's just, gaming gets a little intense. The crazy part is that's only one of like 30 things I can think of using a VPN for. Access to shows that are region locked, hide your internet usage from people that might want to take a peek, download what you want and watch what you want. Back in school, we'd literally use VPN so we could play Roblox on the school Wi-Fi. You get the deal. So if you're interested, I have a special link you can click, or you can use code Scamboli at checkout to save a ton of money. Sho Hazama is your favorite school idol. He wouldn't stop joking around even if you were being kicked in the spleen. So, the first chapter, he's on a date with this girl and she's like,
Hey, you've got something on your lip.
and she was like, huh?
No, here.
And then she runs off to another town with big dreams of becoming a hooker.
Ah, suck this toe. I told you, suck it.
This red wine. You can taste the heavy blood,
Who the fuck is that guy in the mask?
This politician has been a naughty boy. Mr. Fuji was denied a $100,000 loan that caused him to go bankrupt and ended up self-deleting. On the other hand, when he, a former president of a bank, spends money, that gets yanked right out of the taxpayers' pockets. Money that wasn't his, money that could have saved Mr. Fuji was burned in a single day, while he was being paid overtime to toy with these women he purchased. Women like Sheena, whose father lost everything to this man, leading Sheena to sell herself to earn some money. Yeah, Sho didn't like that much. He drags Mr. Shozu's mangled corpse out of the room. Bang! Instantly gets gunned down until his fucking head explodes. Sheena can't just go back to class like nothing happened. Oh hey, when you see something traumatic like that, wait, what? How is this guy alive? What is his goal? What was with that toe sucking? Akumetsu is a smart-ass, chaos-ridden manga, aka one hell of a ride. Akumetsu is set on cleaning up the corruption of Japan at absolutely any cost. This means taking out every deplorable politician one by one in an unstoppable rampage. Akumetsu isn't really someone you can ever get a hold on. He just shows up as the boogeyman for rich people. And I'm not talking about how people on Twitter are like, oh, Jeff Bezos is in a rocket. He could have fetched 6 dogs with that rocket. I hate Jeff Bezos. But have you seen Invincible? I'm talking real dirt. Politicians who move tax funds as if it's their own money. Those who would intentionally trample on the lives of millions and knowingly drive people into poverty to afford a mansion. Real dirt. Written by an author who has real knowledge of how all of this shit goes down. I don't even know if I'm summarizing anything correctly. There's so much insight and detail in how politics and national funds can be manipulated that you could probably actually learn something. And when you see how these bad guys play the game, it feels good as hell to see Akumetsu tackle them off a 1,000,000-story building or infiltrate a news station so he can host his own debate show with the guy he's about to kill. You want pure violence with a mixture of applicable real-world stuff? Akumetsu. I actually found Holyland in one of those top 10 manga to read videos years ago, so I think it's time to pay it forward. This is about bullies. If you're reading manga, let's be serious, you don't like bullies. 4 guys are shooting the shit until they notice the popular thug named Yagi. They're sitting there going on like, I'd kick the shit out of him. But an average person? Nah. An average person doesn't have the instincts. Say Yagi picks on some nerd. He wouldn't have the nuts to swing first. I'll go fuck myself. I guess I can go fuck myself. What Holyland has isn't pure originality. Many manga and manhwa have done very similar plots after it, but few come close in quality. Yu is a shell of a person who felt it was easier to feel nothing rather than to get bullied in school. So he drops out and learns to hate himself. His tipping point is when those same stares he got from his judgmental classmates are directed at him from the eyes of his own parents. So he gets up and says, all right, I'm logging out. And suddenly, a torrent of repressed emotions come flowing back into him, and all of that built-up pain was directed towards self-preservation. Yu would find a safe place for himself to call home by making himself the most dangerous motherfucker around. So he finds a book and practices a simple one too. 5,000 times every day and forges an immaculate punch. A punch that cracked the goddamn nose of the first person that tried him. Holyland is incredibly thoughtful in its fights, which is funny because half the time you're watching a human get dismantled. Each fight is kind of like a puzzle for Yu, where he analyzes what he's missing mid-fight and completes it with a gnarly elbow or a kick that he's been practicing for a week. And the research the author puts in shines because the fight scenes play out like real life. It gives you an imaginary front row seat in front of the action. I swear to God I could hear bone crunching. My neighbors know. They heard me go, ugh. The character development is nuts. Yu initially wants to fight as an escape from his weaker self, but as he racks up accomplishments, the euphoric feeling of triumphing over another human infects his ego. He learns more about himself. The fear starts to fade. His trembling stops and he finds out, I might like this. I think that makes him the most dangerous character in the book. This is made by an author who truly cares. Each fight is carefully annotated with real information about the moves the character used, the reasons why certain guards don't work, and so on. There's even interactive experiments he gives that you can try at home. There's so much care taken in this story. There's so much attention to detail. You gotta wonder, why would you want to draw this happening to a character you put so much effort into? Holyland is that bone-breaking, blood-spilling, savage shit where you go to see someone get hit and once a little bit. It's a must-read for anyone who enjoys stories about fighting. Pandemonium. This one's short and doesn't overstay its welcome. It's about a disheveled cat man who travels the broken earth. A strange box weighs heavily on him. His panting increases, and just moments before reaching his destination, he collapses.
Hey, what happened to you all of a sudden?
What's up with him?
Don't know. He collapsed.
Sometimes I wonder what God wants to do with me. Maybe I shouldn't have been rescued and just died that night.
Are you alright?
Or maybe I should have died right now, after I fainted.
Think it over again, Miss Tomika. Are you really taking him back with you no matter what?
Yes. I'll take responsibility for everything.
Yeah.
Huh?
Whoa, 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 whoa! Oh.
before his eyes is the wonderful land of variance. People thought of as wizards in this world. The first thing this manga does is swallow you up. There's so many foreign elements of poison that rains down on Earth and kills thousands, strange magical tools. The architecture they live in is alluring and alien looking. The various species have such variation. You got the crocodile guy, you got the vulture with the top hat, you got the one with the titties that makes me think of things I'm extremely ashamed of. Even so, the air of this manga is heavy. Zypher, after frantically making way for the chief of the variant village, finally gets a moment to speak to him.
Why have you come?
He asks. The variants are known for performing miracles, even bringing back the dead, right? The themes of loss and healing shroud this manga. Zypher, this broken man who irrationally clings to the past, is willing to drop everything for one last futile shot. And Miss Domika, a woman who's willing to overlook Zypher's shiftiness to complete a part of herself, bring the story to a very vulnerable place. It balances pain with a breath of relief when needed. It's books like this that make me wonder why stories that use animals convey the most human emotions. This one is about jerking off. Every day at 5 p.m., Kurosawa must perform his ritual of going to the female bathroom and relieving himself while he thinks of his classmates. He thinks of it as an art form. As the new student gets bullied, however, he points his cannon in the direction of justice by all over her bully's clothes. You see, there was an adult man who wrote this. And then at least one more that was like, yeah, I don't know, it's just, like, don't you think it's kind of weird? Like, don't you think
You're good.
I'm good.
You're good.
No one's gonna find this weird.
You're solid. You're good.
Do you want to pick our boogers and throw rocks at cars later?
Yes.
Kurosawa returns to his daily ritual only to hear footsteps in the female bathroom. This bullied idiot blackmails Kurosawa into being a serial master who defiles her bully's belongings in exchange for not telling everyone his secret. If it's not obvious, Kurosawa is not a role model, unless you're trying to be really epic. It's his weird resentment towards classmates who can do outlandish things like socialize and talk to each other that gets to him. It causes him to manifest his resentment by defiling his peers. Kurosawa's disgust for other people leaves him isolated.
Why are there so many people?
Oh my god, really? I would go for that one though.
Yeah, totally.
Why can't these guys keep such an elementary rule as please remain quiet in the library? Can't stand these fools, these idiots.
Why are you looking at porn in public?
All right, I'm gonna read Socrates' Love out loud.
Shut up, shut up, shut up. It would appear that today is a very awful day.
What are you reading?
Takigawa?
Is the seat taken?
And then he met her. And something starts to switch. The chick that forces him into doing gross shit to get back at her bullies becomes a more distorted mirror of himself. At the same time, Kurosawa is forced out of his shell and realizes maybe I'm the problem and everyone around me isn't horrible to talk to. His old image of himself begins to erode and Kurosawa begins to change. Not bad for a story about jerking off. The schemes get elaborate to the point where this guy becomes the light Yagami of fapping. The story is hilarious. In fact, the art style adds to my theory that this might be one high effort shitpost. Look at this guy, like, he's from a different cartoon, and it's that makes the themes in this manga so surprising. Yeah, I just found out it's alternatively titled Fap Note, and that makes my light Yagami joke way funnier, but that doesn't bury the value of the story. Despite its premise, this manga is centered around regret, self-reflection, sadness, and growth, responsibility, and forgiving yourself. So I think if an author can cram all of that into 30 chapters, why wouldn't I give it a shot? It's also ranked higher than fucking Claymore, so there are a lot of stupid people that like this. That's probably why I like it. I failed my first class ever in high school because I would stay up until 2 a.m. reading this and skip my first 2 periods. I remember I would wake up perfectly so that I would miss 1 and 2 and like come in during the passing period. Sunken Rock is about this giga simp who gets rejected by a girl who's aiming to become a policeman in Korea. So Ken says, okay, then I will move to Korea and become a cop too, because I shoot black tar heroin and this makes sense to me. He arrives after saving up some money and lives in some shithole where they probably play Osu, because this is where I believe people that play Osu live. But Ken is a man of justice, even though he doesn't look it right now. He very much wants to protect others and become a cop. So this is the story of how Ken Kitano grows to become the filthiest, most badass gang leader in all of Korea in the next chapter. I think what stands out in Sunken Rock is its detail. I read a lot of manga. I read enough manga to only speak in cliches. Watch this. It can't be helped. Okay, watch it. Watch this one.
My hips are moving on their own.
Don't decide that on your own.
See, I've read and watched so much of this shit that I have a second brain dedicated to being annoyed at these dumbass phrases. So when I tell you that the average manga doesn't even pass hentai tier in terms of art, you should listen. You read the average manga and it's like, okay. You read one of the best manga ever made and it looks like this. But you read something made by Boichi. Oh my god. I think my hips are about to start moving on their own. Boichi's a craftsman, I'll flat out say it. Sunken Rock has the best anatomy I've ever seen in manga and some of the best artwork ever. Oh, it's because he drew hentai. If Sunken Rock has one thing going for it, it's growth. Ken has this magnifying force around him that draws people in. His gang starts with a 4-man squad, but soon people start seeing what he's all about and can't help but follow behind him. Ken himself develops from a small town hero to this intimidating, badass mobster. I remember there's this one chapter where a big scary businessman meets him and is like,
"Hey, who's this fucking kid? Get him out of here."
And a few chapters later, he's kissing his hand and sucking his fucking toes like one of those SpongeBob popsicles. I don't know, my memory gets a little hazy. This is another badass one. It's perfect for people who can't mesh with the art style or constant interruptions of Holyland. When you watch a fight here, it's like, all right, I'm going to watch a guy get systematically broken. When you watch a fight here, it's like, okay, I am going to watch a murder take place. People just get squished and stabbed and clobbered. They have to use random objects as weapons because laws are more strict in Korea. Now beware. The ending is probably the worst I have ever read in my entire life, and I haven't found anyone who disagrees with me on that. But the journey to get there is next level. This is the shit that'll have you working out in the gym for the next couple of months. Boichi draws up a great balance between lighthearted storytelling and dark, heavy tension. I think Ken's development is just another example, as he's this super sweet dude you'd want to have your back. But inch by inch, Ken starts to become a monster. 20th Century Boys is an awfully ominous manga. Behind every happy moment, every ounce of sadness, and every revelation, you feel the presence of something beyond comprehension. A laughing in the background as the characters play right into its hands. And then we're learning how babies are made. 20th Century Boys is cool because it doesn't throw a bunch of crazy shit at us all at once. What it does is give us a nibble. We know that Kenji is stuck working at a convenience store. He notices this symbol painted around the neighborhood that he and his friends drew when they were kids. The child he takes care of is special. She has some sort of precognitive ability. But why did one of those old friends send Kenji a note using that symbol right before he jumped off a building? What did a boy who doesn't believe in ghosts see that changed him? Why is humanity destined to end in December 2000? To have your reader constantly asking questions is a talent, but the art of 20th Century Boys lies in the answer. Old people are like the Evangelion of people. Enough said. Time was yanked right out from underneath Kurosawa. Imagine graduating 26 years ago and having nothing to show for it besides a meaningless routine, allowing the days to pass by without you. I've been a piece of shit for way less time than that, and I already feel kind of bad. I thought of reviewing hentai like, the fuck did I go to high school for? But this is life for Kurosawa, lonely and unfulfilled, and one day he'd had enough. He decided to take a brave first step towards being a better man than yesterday. He goes to work full of energy, ready to be reborn, and ignored in favor of the younger, more respected guy at his job. Sometimes you step in a pile of shit. Or the time he helps a lost baby find his mom, and ends up becoming best friends with it, and rolling around with it, and sleeping on a park bench. Relatable. There's honestly more downs than ups in this manga. Nothing ever goes Kurosawa's way. Even at his best, he falls short of whatever he's trying to do. Coworkers avoid him, he's constantly in fear, which makes him one of the strongest, most inspiring characters I've ever read in a manga. Kurosawa isn't strong because he cries when he gets jumped, or because his only friend is a traffic robot, or because no one will give him the time of day. He's strong because life beats him over the head with this shit daily, but he's still standing. You'd expect him to die in a ditch or disappear forever, but like a mountain, he's always standing the next chapter, ever tall. No matter how much he tries to delude himself into thinking he's a coward, or how often he goes through near-death experiences, even before he realizes it, he begins to grow. Every failure tempts the hidden potential within him to shine through, bright enough to light up the people around him. Slowly, people begin to respect him and follow him. This guy, who's shitting his pants internally, addled with self-doubt and fear. Is this the face of somebody like that? It's stories like this that make me walk a little faster and speak a little louder. Saikyo Denetsu Kurosawa is a must-read for people of all ages, especially those that need to remember how to take that first step.